emergency contraception methods are methods that you use in cases of emergencies to avoid an unwanted pregnancy. That's pretty much all it is. There are, of course, various methods, some more popular, some less popular. For example, an uncommon method of emergency contraception is the IUCD insertion. And the more common, more popular one is the emergency pills for contraception. So how effective it is, actually various studies and various sources and various geographies actually can yield different results in any of these things. But up to 95% of success rate has been achieved with proper timely usage of emergency contraceptive pill. I think that's a very important thing for me to mention, because the success rate of emergency contraceptive pills declines very rapidly with time. And I think it's important to keep harping on the fact that it has to be consumed in a timely manner. As soon as possible is the best. Can it be used as an alternative to other methods of contraception? That's a big no. I think hopefully everybody would agree it's for good reason, because one, the success rate is really not as high as other methods of contraception. And two, because it has this spike dosage of a particular hormone, it can result in menstrual irregularities, which can again then further make your contraceptive cycle and your continuous methods very complicated. So the best answer, the best takeaway is that it has to be used for emergency purposes, which is why it is called an emergency contraceptive pill, and it's not a replacement for other methods at all. The most easily available, most popular, also the most well-known by young women method is the emergency contraceptive pill, which of course has multiple brand names, I-pills and 72-hour pills. It's also called the morning after pill, which does not mean that it only has to be had in the morning, which is a common query that I think a lot of girls might have when they hear the word morning after. These pills are very easily available online also. You can get them home delivered. In the pandemic times, they've been often used by women and delivered at home as well. But they can also be purchased at any pharmacy, even at any health wellness stores that you get. And it's fairly easy to procure them. It is not as complicated as it might sound to people who've not used them. I first talk about the IUCD insertion or the IUD insertion. That has to be done within 5 days. And that, of course, only can be done by a medical practitioner. But the pill that you have to take, you can take it within 72 hours if you want to be worry-free about the success rate that it might have. Now, the thing is that when you ask the question, for how long after can it be taken? The answer is you can even take it after a week. But will it really give you that mental peace of knowing that it's going to be successful in preventing the pregnancy that you don't want? Not really. So the truth is that its efficacy declines quite rapidly with time, right? So sometimes it's also possible that you go to a doctor and you've already surpassed the 72 hours, time has already elapsed, right? But the doctor might still tell you to have the 72-hour pill because it might still be effective in some cases, but it won't be as effective. So how soon you have to take it is as soon as possible. But how long after can you take it? Honestly, there is no necessary time limit, but it just won't be effective. So 72 hours is the most, it's the preferred window that you need to take it, but as soon as possible is what you need to remember. Sometimes, actually, interestingly, sometimes you can also take it right before you're having unprotected sex. But then the question that you need to ask yourself is, why are you going for that instead of other methods of contraception, right? So my answer is pretty much just that. I feel like once a young girl is able to understand the concept behind this will go away, because it is, once you understand the concept, you'll know how ridiculous it is to have this kind of misconception. And unfortunately, so many young women hold this kind of a misconception. Now, understand this, that in a sexually transmitted infection, think of it like there's a germ on one partner's genitals. Okay, this is me talking in very simplistic terms, but I think it will help people understand the concept. There's a germ on one partner's genitals, and because of indulging in sexual activity, that germ is able to pass on to the other partner's genitals and then grow there. That is how an STD, you can say that is how an STD can spread. That is how the infection spreads. Now, how do you think will having a pill, whether it be an emergency contraceptive pill or oral contraceptive that you have on an ongoing basis, which is doing absolutely nothing to prevent infections as such, prevent an STI? So you have to understand that there has to be a barrier that prevents that jump of that germ from one partner's genitals to the other partner's genitals. And that's the only way to prevent an STI during a sexual engagement or sexual activity. So the answer is ECPs or any contraceptive pills do not prevent STIs at all. There is no as such contraindication to prevent or not take an emergency contraceptive pill. They're very well tolerated by most women, if not all, and they're fairly safe to take by pretty much everybody. I mean, that's the reason why you can get them over the counter. You don't need a prescription. You don't need to be monitored by anybody. So they're quite safe to take for pretty much anybody. Anybody can take them. The second question, which is about the side effects, even when a woman has side effects from emergency contraceptive pills, they're relatively minor and they will usually subside within a day. So it's not really necessarily something to worry about. But common side effects such as some nausea, some vomiting can happen. Menstrual irregularities can happen. It's possible that you might have some spotting. Some women can also experience some fatigue, headaches, dizziness. But anything that you experience like this typically will subside very soon. Do you need a doctor's consultation? The answer is no. You don't need it. Is it advisable that you go for a doctor's consultation? Yes, but that is for reasons that go beyond just the medical aspect of it. The fact, again, like I said before, the fact that you're using an emergency contraceptive pill typically means that you could use some counseling around family planning methods or around contraceptive methods in general. And for that, it is a good idea to go to a doctor, right? They can guide you, they can suggest you. Plus, the doctor will also be able to tell you in detail about the side effects that you can expect and also be able to be your point of contact in case you experience something that is very, very troublesome for you. And then, of course, the fact that a lot of young girls have so many myths and misconceptions around ECPs kind of makes it important that more of them get in touch with doctors and get those myths and misconceptions cleared out, right? So there are cases where young girls don't understand that even after having an ECP, after that, if you're indulging in unprotected sex again, you can still get pregnant again. So it's not going to protect you for a month, for example, which is unfortunately a common misconception held by girls. So again, my answer is, do you need to consult a doctor? No. You don't need a prescription either. But is it good that you consult a doctor? Yes. Home remedy that can prevent a pregnancy is typically going to cost you in more ways than one, right? So these are sometimes, unfortunately, peddled within families, sometimes peddled within friend groups and peer groups. But none of these will give you either effective results or the peace of mind that something as safe and proven as an ECP can give you, right? So the only thing that I can suggest can look like a home remedy is using, calendar methods or save day methods or rhythm methods for avoiding unwanted pregnancies as a regular method of contraception, even though that's not a very efficacious one. At least it's not necessarily unsafe. But a lot of the home remedies that are often suggested to young girls, they're not just things that can lead to pregnancy eventually. They can also actually be quite unsafe. So there is no home remedy that can prevent an unwanted pregnancy, neither before having unprotected sex nor after it.